one hand, obviously, big, difficult production, I guess. On the other hand, must have been easier because of the much smaller cast of all the dead characters who are never coming back. So I was wondering, what was the experience this time around, in comparison with the previous films?
I mean, we don't want to talk too specifically, only because we don't want to give any plot away. But it's like summer camp every time you work with this cast and these actors, and we all love each other like family. We've been together for years now. And that's one of the more interesting aspects of making these movies is the relationships you build. Traditionally, you shoot a movie, you have an intense relationship with people for a couple of months, and then it dissipates. This, we get to see each other every few months, and everyone loves each other and has a lot of fun together.
And we saw 2 short clips, and there was a lot of Nebula in them, which is great. She's a great character. So I was wondering, since you spoke about interactions, doing all these movies previous years, were there like interactions between characters that you wanted to get to at some point? Like, did you imagine that we had to pair this one with this one? Was this...
We do a lot of, we spend a lot of time thinking about who are interesting pairings, who are combustible pairings, both on a character level and on a performer level. But really, at the end of the day, once we start to settle into the narrative leads us certain places. And now that, because of what's happened with Thanos, it creates a new opportunity for us to mix characters in a different way, because there's a whole bunch of characters who are now missing. So, it's a part of the fun is just figuring out who is the most interesting combinations of people to put together in what situations.
While doing the Cab movies initially, did you look around the rest of the MCU and have like a favorite other movie or other character that you wanted to tackle?
I think that's probably what led us to, after we finished Winter Soldier, there was no idea about what the next Cap movie would be, but we really loved the idea of doing Civil War next, in part because we wanted to put Cap on a collision course with Tony Stark. So yeah, I think that was part of our agenda there.
And the opportunity to introduce Black Panther, Spider-Man, those were very exciting characters to us.
Obviously, you can be very specific, but I was wondering what were some guiding lights or influences when it comes to Endgame, either film or generally more pop culture.
I mean, again, those could give away tone and direction.
But
we will say this, that working on the 2 movies, you want to make sure that they're distinguished from each other. And one way that you can distinguish them is through tone, and the other is through point of view. So the tone in this movie is distinctive from Infinity War, and the point of view is also distinctive.
I know in the past we've given references for different movies that kind of may have influenced our stylistic choices and tonal choices, but on this one, this movie was unique in the sense that we were only thinking about the previous 21 movies that have led to this moment. That was really the influence on Endgame, because that was our job with Endgame, is how do we end this story? How do we pay off this long road? So really it's those 21 movies that fed Endgame.
You also directed some of the most inventive TV sitcoms episodes ever in Community, which were actually some of them were really action-based in a very creative way, I think. And now you do all these big action blockbusters, so I was wondering, how does the one thing inform the other? How has this evolution been for you?
Well, it's certainly, for us, a couple things. Television is, you look at like some of the filmmakers are ubiquitous right now, and they all came from television because you're working constantly in TV, and it's sort of, it's just like exercises a muscle that is very valuable as a filmmaker. So us and J.J. Abrams and Joss Whedon and Judd Apatow, all of us came from television. And I think, with Community, every week we were exploring a new genre. From a directorial standpoint, we have to think of, all right, how are we going to execute this tonally? How's it different? What are the sort of key tenets of each genre that we can make fun of? Action was certainly, something that we would have a lot of fun with on the paintball episodes. Second season we directed a Sergio Leone spoof and then a Star Wars spoof, and I think those were the 2 episodes that got Kevin Feige really excited to pick up the phone and call us regarding Captain America. I think he said, "Oh, these guys can handle comedy, and they're making some really inventive choices with the action." You know, I wonder if they could, if they're interested in these characters, and of course, you know, we were.